start Mugen Archive. It's been a while since I did one of these stage select videos, enough so that I feel like I have to refresh memory of what this series even is. For those of you who already know what it is, just fast forward in the video a little, get to the stage reviews. But so what is we do in this series is I take a look at a 40 or so stages from Video Game Universe section of Mugen Archive, which is kind of like the random miscellaneous video game theme stages. I like this section. I think it's pretty interesting of what could be in here. For me, this is kind of like a diamond in the rough hunt, but it's also very much a critical review of all 40 of the stages we're going to be looking at. So yeah, we're going to go down the list. We go into Video Game Universe, and then we're going to look one by one, go through this list and review each of these stages. And I'm going to point out mistakes I see with them, little issues I find in the stages, what I think about the stages, whether I'm going to keep them or not, whether I'm going to fix them up for a stage surgery video or not. For those of you who don't know, most of the early stage surgeries spun out of the stage select videos, right? Just while I was looking at the stages in these stage select videos, I decided if I was going to fix them up for re-release after I fix their issues. That's basically it. Like I said, I had to feel like I should go over this again because it's been over 2 years, and I think my subscribers have basically tripled since the last time I put out one of these stage select videos. But after that, well, let's just get to it. First up, we got GM Roofsbigcity by Pain Cupcake. I thought this was going to be a Gary's Mod stage since it starts off with GM Roof or GM, but it says it's from Serious Sam. Well, actually, it said it's from Serious Horse Sam, which I assume is a typo, unless there's seriously a game out there called Serious Horse Sam. Anyway, okay, so the big issue to this stage, besides it's just sort of ugly looking, is you can't even really tell what you're looking at without jumping around, which you're probably going to have to super jump like crazy to see some of this extra detail up here. And it's full of bad JPEG fuzz and color loss around the assets. You can see all this fuzz around the edges of everything. So it's pretty nasty looking. This one is definitely not getting kept by me, and I don't think I'm going to make a stage surgery on it either. So yeah, a big no on this one. Okay, this is Fusion World Sonic vs. Mario by DJ Sonic. Now, this was way better than I thought it was going to be. First off, on Mugen Archive, the picture of this is currently just an error. It doesn't, the little thumbnail for this didn't load, so I really didn't know what to expect going on. But I just assumed it was just going to be some really ugly hodgepodge instead of this high effort thing I'm looking at. Now, if I was gonna do anything to this, I'd rescale it for that old make Mario 2 blocks tall. However, if I did do that, there would still be issues because all these characters are not consistent in their sizes, which isn't that bad. But the characters are already clearly more than 2 blocks tall. This Peach is clearly more than 2 blocks tall. So if I shrunk your player characters down to about 2 blocks tall, Peach would look gigantic. There's no technical issues, so like I said, this is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And I don't know how much of this is custom. I assume some of it's custom art, but I could be wrong. Maybe everything here is from somebody else. I assume this Diddy sprite is somebody else's work and not the guy who compiled this stage. But yeah, this is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. But whether I actually keep it, I'm not sure. Okay, next up is Halo Free Valhalla by Joey Griffin. Now, this is a static image, but it's a pretty good static image, so I'm not really complaining about that. There's he has a pretty good walk space for your characters. It doesn't look like you're walking on a picture, so to speak. However, there's a few issues. Now there's a lot of sky in this stage, a lot of up area. But it pulls up so slow that even if you were super jumping, you'd shoot off the screen and be invisible doing your super jump actions. So that's a problem. And if you look up in the top left, you can see the word bungee written on the sky. And there's a couple lines of exposed void up at the top that would have to be trimmed off. So if I was going to do something with this, I would probably add zoom to it, patch out the word bungee, trim off the exposed void, and yeah, that would be that. Like, it doesn't look too bad, actually. Yeah, I think I'll keep this and edit it. Okay, this is General Works by Icarus and Shiyo Kakuge. It's from something called, like, Library of Ruina. Now, if you're looking under the stage, you can see that the floor is, like, cut off, and you can see underneath the floor, which is the biggest issue in this stage. But if I could fix that issue, then I like the stage quite a lot. It looks really nice, even if it's yeah, like you could jump up there. Like everything looks like it's working as intended, and it looks pretty dynamic. And yeah, this is definitely a keeper. I'm probably gonna fix up the floor and re-release it as a stage surgery. Yeah, that's that for that one, but I like it a lot. Mario Fan 06 released this Prince of Persia stage. I think it's from one of those Game Boy Advance or maybe even the DS Crash Bandicoot games. It seems to be a parody of Prince of Persia. But there's no technical issues that I see. My only beef with it is a personal beef, which is like I feel like the scaling is off. So I might just like release a rescale of this so the characters look more naturally in it. Yeah, because like look at like Hinata compared to the size of this door. So like yeah, I want to make a version where like Hinata looks like she actually belongs in this environment. That's all for that one. I definitely think this is a good one. Sure Mugener 07 released this Angry Birds stage from like the Star Wars parody Plasma Refinery. Now, this is another one that's like full of color loss. At least I'm pretty sure it is. It's also like really vertical and like hard to tell what you're even looking at if you don't have the context. Um, if you jump up here, you'll see that what looks like a black overlay is hanging over this pillar, and like throughout the stage, like that probably should have been removed if it's not part of the original art. And also, I would advise Sure Mugener to if you're having a pretty vertical stage of like a floor like this, you got to make sure your shadows aren't like falling off the side of a cliff because it kind of breaks the illusion. But I won't be keeping this one anyway. LoopyAntenna made this Happy Wheels stage. It's from Happy Wheels. It's kind of blurry and there's definitely like color loss in it. I really hope that like the actual like indie game Happy Wheels isn't this like have this much bad of color loss in the background. I'm probably gonna go easy on this stage because I have a Happy Wheels character that needs a stage to exist in. So maybe I'll do something like with this, maybe repaint it, maybe AI upscale it. I'm not sure, but like I think I'm keeping this and gonna do something with it just because I need a stage for my Happy Wheels character. Mario Fan 06 made this Banjo Kazooie stage, Gruntilda's Tower Top. Now, the stage is pretty interesting. Like, I think it doesn't look that bad, with the exception of one thing I'll get to in a moment. I mean, it's got this nice moving background on different deltas, and it's got this lightning effect going on. And I don't think the scale is off that bad either. My issue with it is the Grundy, or the Gruntilda in the background. When she goes by in a second, if you like look really closely at her, she's gonna be like with surrounded by this like purple halo, which is basically bad rip dots left over from a transparency color. So if I was gonna do something to this stage, I'd probably like paint out the bad rip dots so it looks nicer and she looks cleaner. And maybe I'd even like touch up the lightning sprites because I can see some little like pixelation on the edges that probably would look nicer if they were removed. But otherwise, I like it. RunninPigeon made this Sonic stage Greenflower Zone. We've got some serious issues here. Okay, so first off, if we pay attention to the characters, if I like walk left, you can see Hinata is like sliding all over the floor. So yeah, the floor is sliding pretty badly. And it's not just your player characters that are sliding badly. It's these flowers in the foreground too. Like if you watch them, they're sliding all over this textured floor. When you have a textured floor, it becomes all the more obvious that stuff is sliding or not hugging their marks. And also, if you jump and watch the floor, you can just barely tell that the floor is warping downward. So that would have to be turned off. Another thing I'd probably change is I'd make the sky just ever so slightly a different color than these flower or spinning flowers, because if you look, the flowers are practically bleeding into the sky. So if the sky was like noticeably lighter, it wouldn't look like the flowers were bleeding in with them too much. But yeah, everything, the floor needs to be fixed, and everything needs to be like programmed to hug their marks a little bit better on the floor. But otherwise, it's not too bad. Okay, TheClaSsIcFan re-released like 3 separate Roblox stages: Roblox HQ, Crossroads, and Rocket Arena. Now, I've already worked on some of these in the past, so I was like, oh no, is he just re-releasing the stages again without my edits to make them slightly better? But thankfully, it looks like he's re-ripped them. I'm pretty sure this is way nicer and way higher res than it ever used to be. Which I'm pretty sure I told him to try to get higher res image. So if that's the case, if he was actually listening to my advice, then like great. Either way, I think this blows the old version out of the water. Yeah, so we got Crossroads next. Once again, I'm pretty sure he re-ripped it to look a lot cleaner and nicer at higher res. So this is probably going to replace my old version of it. And finally, we have Rocket Arena. Same deal. It looks like it's been re-ripped. And he's got the transparent the transparent foreground going on here, even though it looks like it has a weird halo, but maybe that was there already. So yeah, nothing to complain about here. I think he did a good job. Sky might be pulling up a little too violently, though. Let me see if I can get this name right. Okay, this stage, PS2 Bios, was made by XXP Glitz Mugen 236. Now going in, I thought this was gonna suck. I thought this was gonna be a static image of like a just a screenshot or a static image screenshot of like one of the PS2 Bios things. But thankfully, it is not. It is much better than that. He's got full animation going on in the background. He's got a sense of depth with the stuff moving in the back. So it all looks pretty nice, and I'm definitely keeping it. However, I do have a minor complaint about the Zoom version. So yeah, this is the Zoom version, but once again, it's like Zoom overkill in my opinion. But I know some people like that, so I won't like really say that's an error. But like when you zoom out here, like I know what he was going for, but to me it just looks like the floor is shrinking or your characters are shrinking against the background, and it looks like the sense of depth is destroyed on this Zoom version. So yeah, I don't really care for this Zoom version, which I won't be using. Strike Freedom Girl 555 made this Puyo Puyo stage, Puyo Puyo Quest Town. And as much as I want to like it, we got serious walking on a picture syndrome. There's no floor to walk on. We're just like walking on the elements. We're walking on this plant potter. So yeah, I'm not keeping this unless there's on the off chance there's a bunch of like floor hiding off the screen. Maybe I could shrink it and salvage it, but I don't think there is. So yeah, as pretty as this stage is, I'm not keeping it because there's no floor and it's just walking on a picture. Uni made this stage Spongebob Basics, which I think is a parody of the indie game Baldi's Basics. Which it looks like an old screensaver is what it actually looks like. But we got some like blue brick hallways. Like I said, I think it's just a parody of Baldi's Basics. I'm not keeping this, but at the very least, it needs a rescale so your characters don't look super tiny next to these doors. So yeah, that's that one on that one. I'm not keeping this one. Okay, Kamiko Fan 2 made this stage control pad from the obscure old game Morph Man. Now, we got this animation in the sky, but we can't see it very well unless we're jumping up and hanging in the air for a long period. But I'm not sure how well this really translates to a Mugen stage to begin with, because it's very much walking on a picture. Uh, while this kind of looks like a floor, it doesn't really work too well because like you're practically off the screen at the time, and I'm not even sure there's more image to work with anyway. Uh, but yeah, I'm not really keeping this one. It just doesn't work for me. Lunar Rouge or Rogue made this stage Central Command from a game called Lobotomy Corporation. Now, it's a pretty well defined picture, and it looks like we have a clear floor. But my only issue with it is I'm pretty sure this stage, like this, I'm pretty sure there's a ceiling fan back here and these little like gears and stuff. I'm pretty sure the stage is intended for really tiny characters. So at the very least, for me to keep it, I would have to rescale it for normal size characters. It's not that bad though, and I'd also change the resolution because for me, there's not a lot of jump area. It's a little too zoomed in on my settings. But beyond that, it's not too bad. Okay, and Mario made this Puyo Puyo stage, Tower Puyo Puyo Su. Pretty sure I already had a stage that's like really close to this one. The main difference is this one has like a higher sky with the sun in it and all these animated characters hanging around in the background, which is nice. This might actually replace the one I've been currently using, which I think also is a background featuring this tower. Not much to say. I definitely don't hate it. Hiromon made this stage Devil Person Godo from Shin Megami Tensei for the Super Famicom, and I like this quite a lot. I am definitely keeping this, and I don't see any technical issues. Yeah, this is a banger as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, definitely keeping this. Montana made this clock tower stage, labeled Clock Tower. It's from the Super Nintendo game Clock Tower. Um, you may have seen it there for like half a second, but I'm pretty sure the starting positions are messed up because like Gombi there like just jerked into place after the stage started, which probably means there's an error regarding starting positions. Now you can see exposed void below the stage, and also the shadows are climbing up the wall, which we don't want. But the main thing I would do to this stage, besides fixing those issues, is just give it a rescale. I also noticed this little thing on the carpet. Is this natural? This little like double spacing and the like shading of this carpet. It looks like somebody stitched something together and stitched it badly, but for all I know, that's actually in the game because like it doesn't look stitched anywhere else. I don't know. It looks off. But if it's accurate, which I'll check, I'm gonna leave it alone. Dapper Blueberries made this Gary's Mod stage, City 17 train station. It's basically a static image, even though it's not that bad of a static image. Um, it does look like a little too big, though. I think maybe it needs to be ever so slightly scaled down, because right now the human-sized characters in it look incredibly tiny compared to their environment. Deku004 made this Midnight Club free garage stage. It's pretty busted. Okay, first of all, we're clearly walking on a picture as we're walking on this car. The car is enormous compared to us. We walk to the left and right, we can see there's broken tiling where like the left and the right side of the image are looping, and it looks very obvious seams in it. And even if we jump up top, we can see that like the picture is laid on top of itself, which I know why that happened, and it's kind of like a big rookie mistake because like that happens because people don't realize that the tutorial text actually has active code in it, so they don't realize there's like two copies of like the probably the first sprite in the file. But that's all. This is a definite no keeper on me. Like even if I rescaled this to like shrink the car and then clipped off the sides and all the stuff, there still wouldn't be any floor to walk on. Okay, also by Deco004 is this Project Sakai shopping mall. Now we have some similar issues. If we walk to the left and right, we can see that like it's once again has like broken tiling effects on the ends. However, this is a much better attempt than that Midnight Club free stage. We clearly have a floor to walk on, even though we have exposed void at the bottom and probably more tiling issues up top, but it's hard to tell. But this could be salvaged. This just needs to have the void trip cut off and the tiling cut off, and it make a nice mall background for a static picture. Yeah, I might do that. Mabs Kamek made this Wonder Boy and Monster World stage, Children. I like it a lot. It looks really nice. Um, Obviously, my characters are too big for it, but I'm pretty sure it was intended for small characters. It's not an actual error. That's just his choice. Um, I'm not sure how well this would even look rescaled. I might just leave this completely alone and just add music to it. Which he probably included the music to and I just forgot. But otherwise, yeah, definitely keeping this one. I think it looks quite nice. Dr. M made this Doom stage, Doom City Bridge. We got a bunch of little delta problems. Okay, first off, the floor is sliding. Like if we walk to the left, we can see that the player two is, or Hinata is sliding on the floor pretty badly. The floor also warps, so like if you jump up and watch the floor, it looks like it's pulling out from underneath the character's feet, which we don't want. Same thing goes through the water in the background, that it's kind of like warping downward. Also, the tiling effect on the water is broken, so it's like leaving this big chunk of exposed void over here. Also, the like foreground and the like back are about the same size, so it kind of is like it's destroying the illusion of depth that we'd like. So if when I fix this up, I'd probably remove the foreground or make it noticeably bigger to give a better sense of depth. Uh, but otherwise, like I think this is definitely salvageable and might look pretty nice salvaged. So yeah, I'll probably fix this up. The next three stages are by Panoramico, uh, and none of them work on my Mugen. And I thought I figured out what was making them not work. Yeah, if I try to load these, Mugen is just going to crash. You may see here that it says Panorama Space Miko instead of Panoramico. For those of you who don't know, if you put like a fancy letter in Mugen, like let's say an A with a line above it, or an A with like a, accented A, or any special like character like that instead of a normal letter, Mugen's going to have trouble with it. A lot of the fonts won't account for it, and also Mugen itself will have trouble reading the file. Like if you put a .sssf file with one of the fancy letters in it, it's probably just going to crash. And if you put a fancy letter in like the .daf file, it's probably not even going to read it. I had to change the fancy A's to normal A's in the file names for it to even show up here in the stage select. Otherwise, it just straight up wouldn't acknowledge their existence, let alone prevent them from crashing. I thought just retitling the stages would stop it from crashing, but no, they still crash. So unfortunately, I can't show these three. Can't show Mega Man Stage Laboratory, can't show Cyberpunk Stage Space City, and can't show Cyberpunk Stage Portal. Yeah, be careful, man. Be careful, people. And also don't put spaces in your file names. That also causes problems. Okay, Confong made the stage Teddy Boy Blues title. I assume it's from something called Teddy Boy Blues. Um, Now, I like this stage a lot, even though there might be some like resize damage on it. Uh, my main issue with this is the floor. Now, you see this logo that says Yoko Ishino? Now, like if you walk left and right, it bends like a parallax floor is supposed to. However, its like starting position is wrong. Like this logo shouldn't be like flat at the default. It should be more like a trapezoid to give the sense of depth that we're actually going back, or the floor is actually going back into the background. So if I do anything with this stage, it's probably just going to be a simple floor fix to change this logo so it looks more like it's actually part of the other floor. Right now, it kind of looks like you're standing on the front of a stage, like on a wall. Like if the Yoko Ishino is just on a flat wall, even though I'm pretty sure that's not what they were going for. Also, I might double check to see if I can take out what seems to be resize damage in this background character over here. But that's basically it. I do like it quite a bit. Blue Yaoshi created this giant queso stage. It looks like it might be from another Baldi's Basic parody. Um, this stage is rough, man. Okay, so first, watch Hinata. So if I walk left, it's going to pull Hinata to the left. This is what I refer to as a bound pull error, which is if somebody's trying to be a little bit too clever with the bound code and they don't know how to like actually stop the characters from doing it and they put in the wrong code. I'm not even sure why they did that though, because I see no reason to try to come up short. It also results in this comical error in the side here where like Gombi is clearly just walking right off the stage into the black void. Also, the art in the background is really blurry and like choppy looking. Like there's like a moon or something behind this guy, or a pair of testicles or something. I don't know. It looks like maybe it's two moons, but it looks really badly ripped and rough. There is no way I'm keeping this stage. Yeah, this is going straight in the bin. Okay, Scepter D. Pinoy and Shiro Tori made these two cave story stages, Cave Story Theater and then Cave Story Theater with no quote and clearly. They're slightly different besides the obvious no quote and clearly, which I'll get into in a second. Okay, so once again, the sprite here on like a Scepter D. Pinoy and Shiratori stage is like basically amazing. Like no complaints there. It's when it's the actual stage composition or stage coding that actually has some minor problems. Okay, so when you like zoom out here and jump up, you'll notice there's quite a bit of art that's been cut off. And I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to be cut off. Because if we go into the no quote and curly version and do the same thing, like we can see all the stuff that was cut off before. So I think that's a genuine mistake that it was cut off before on the other one. Also, there's no bound tension coding. So like the only way you're even seeing most of that stuff is if you walk all the way left and right and then get knocked into the sky, which is pretty rare in a fight. So that's why you want like the tension high and tension low coding to exist in the stage so you can still see like the zoom out stuff when you're jumping high. So yeah, I like those stages quite a lot and like I really like the sprite art, but they definitely need some like coding updates to really shine, which I'll probably do a quick release with that fix added. Jump Scares the Fox released this stage hard dismount, which I assume is from some old mobile game of the same name. It's this weird like mannequin looking thing in the background just standing on like I guess a stone platform. And your characters are practically off the screen when they're standing, but that might just be one of my resolution things. Uh I don't know what to say. I can't imagine a reason to keep this stage without being a fan of whatever this is. Yeah, I don't have much to say. There's no technical issues. It's just I don't want it. Mephisto 1969 made edits to Somebody 407's Pizza Tower stages. He made these three edits from like MG Pepper stage, MG Pepper stage 2, and Pepperman's Arena. Okay, so the first two, MG Pepper and MG Pepper stage 2, like they're mostly fine. I'm not seeing any big issues or technical issues or clipped off exposed void or anything like that. So that one and this one, they're not too bad. I think they're usable. However, the third one, there's a pretty big issue with. Okay, so you saw those two. Now look at Pepperman's Arena. Like, what is happening here? Is this like a thing in the game where it just like goes to real and puts the background over the foreground? Like, that doesn't seem like anything I've seen in Pizza Tower myself yet. And if we like walk left and right, the characters are like sliding all over the place. Yeah, like so that doesn't seem right at all. And if we jump, the background is also sliding around. Like it just the floor which you're standing on also sync or pulls up. So it's like not only sliding left and right, it's like sliding up and down. So yeah, this is a definite no. Hadid has made this Desierto Fortnite. I assume he meant to write Fortnite, unless in Spanish it's really pronounced Fortnite. I really doubt it though. Um, Unfortunately, I can't show this one because it crashes Mugen, and I looked inside the code trying to figure out why it was crashing Mugen or any way to fix it, and I didn't see anything obvious to why it was crashing. Though I assume since it wasn't like the SFF file making it crash, or at least I don't think it was, there's probably something else it's trying to load that doesn't exist, because that's usually why Mugen Stages crashes. But either way, I can't show it off because it crashed. Okay, Pull Off made this stage Lunar Waste from something called Dishwasher 2 Vampire Smile. Now, it seems fine on the surface, but there is a few issues. Okay, first off, if you jump, and you have to jump like crazy to get this high, like you'll notice that the art sort of cuts off, like the spotlights on the stage are cut off if you jump up high enough. And if you jump even higher, there's exposed void up there, though I'm having trouble seeing it at the moment. But yeah, like if you go up there really, really high, there's a bit of exposed void. But I think it needs to be trimmed off just after the art ends here. So like you not even shouldn't even see that high. Should be like cut off here instead of up there. And there's a second very hard to spot issue. So Pull Off coded this with like some pretty tight bound to the left and right. So like that's as far as Hinata can go over. Um, but you don't barely even realize that there's a like minor bound issue because it has zoom and like you can go pretty far without hitting that invisible wall. But if you were trying to keep them from like walking off the stage, there's a better way to do it, where you use like a player bound instead of regular bound, I think. But yeah, so I'm gonna recode this, trim off the top, so like you don't get exposed, and I'm gonna have it pull up a little better too, because like if you're super jumping, you'd go off the screen instead of seeing your character up there in the super jump the way it's currently coded. So yeah, it needs some like tension high coding to like have the zoom work when you jump, and it needs to have the bounds relaxed and recoded so I can get what he was going for without having you stop short. Because like right now, if you have it over here, then I'm hitting an invisible wall over here. I don't know. Maybe he meant to do that. Optum24 made this Seaside Street Galaxy. It's from Daytona, USA. What Daytona, USA platform it's on, I have no idea, but that's what it said. It's basically this like seaside just bridge or overpass. It doesn't look too bad. The only issue I can like, there's no technical issues except for this ever so slightly exposed line of void at the very bottom if you're looking super close. Now, he could have missed this because he was editing his Mugen stage in full screen, which makes it harder to see exposed void lines down there. Or it may just be my settings are ever so slightly different from his that he couldn't see the exposed void line and I can. But a single line of exposed void, is that really worth a stage surgery release? When I can just push like bound low -1? Mario Fan 06 created this Crash Bandicoot stage, which once again I assume is from a Game Boy Advance game. Uh, it's a space background. There's no technical issues. I actually think it's pretty decent for what it is, and I'll be keeping it. Flapjack Fan 2010 released this Papa Louie stage, Papa Freezeria. Now my big issue with this stage is he left this cursor in, where if, like he should have moved the cursor down into the sand where he could have patched it out or something. I feel like maybe somebody already released this stage as well, and maybe without that cursor. I'll have to like look extra closely to like double check that, but I'm a bit torn. I do have a few Papa Louie characters that probably need to be in individual stages, but that cursor's pretty bad. I could probably patch it out though if I really need to salvage this. Tweenies 1998 made this Kageki stage. It's from some old boxing game. And oof. Now, I don't blame the creator for this, but this stage's art is so rough. Um, Also, it's confusing. I don't even know what I'm looking at in the background. Like, clearly we have these barrels and crates, but this barrel in the center is like clipped off, but if we look over here to the right, this like motorbike or something that's up here, it looks like it blends into this top pretty well. So what's going on with this barrel? I would have just assumed the background was clipped off of the top if it wasn't for this motorbike over here. Are we supposed to be on the back of like a freighter or like a ferry, like a the one like taking vehicles across a body of water? Like I have no idea what I'm looking at, but it is just the art is so rough. Like I am definitely not keeping this. Another Papa Louie stage by FlapjackFan. This time it's Papa Wingaria. And it's like we're on a Vegas strip of Papa Louie, I guess. Um, Once again, I need like some stages for some Papa Louie's characters, so I might be going a little easier on this than I should be. So I might keep this regardless, but we'll see. It's a little rough, like a little blurry. It looks kind of splotchy, like some color loss. Red Dragon Claws made this Sega CD stage, Sega CD Bios. Now, this has a pretty fancy animation going on in the background, but there's two main issues. Mainly, once again, you'd have to basically be jumping around in the sky to even see it. Like, I feel like this whole stage needs to be shrunken down so, like, the animation features prominently in the background, but it still can be, like, kind of passively seen without, during the fight, without, like, being knocked into the sky. And it wouldn't hurt to have, like, a floor maybe underneath the animation for your characters to walk on down here. Yeah, I'll probably be editing this stage to add a floor to it and shrinking it down a bit. Okay, from an unknown offer, we have Dead Ahead Town from Dead Ahead Zombie Warfare. Okay, the main issue with this stage is there's broken tiling on the left and right ends. We can see like the bus is clipped off and the image is repeating over here on the right. And if we go to the right side, same deal. It's repeating the image to the left and right. And it's probably an easy enough fix to, clip that off on both sides. I'm just not sure how worth it is. And to finish off this video, we have Hospital Stage from SWAT vs. Zombies. It's also by an unknown offer and probably the same unknown offer as the last stage since it has very similar problems and feels very similar in a lot of ways, like in the general theme. So yeah, we're in a hospital that's been just absolutely destroyed. And if we walk to the right, we can see that it's been the tiling has been cut off and it's repeating to the left and right. Go over here, same deal. Even though it's hard to see it because we have the green boxes right next to each other, but it is a different image, or it is the right end of the image colliding with the left side, is what I should say. Do you guys want me to fix this? Like, I don't know. But that is all for this video.